Welcome to a tale of adventure, love, and a whole lot of spots. Meet Pongo and Perdita, two lovable Dalmatians whose lives are turned upside down when their puppies are stolen by the villainous Cruella de Vil. With courage, teamwork, and the help of their furry friends, they embark on a daring rescue mission across the countryside. From heartwarming moments to thrilling chases, 101 Dalmatians is a timeless classic that will make you laugh, cheer, and believe in the power of family. Get ready for a positively unforgettable adventure. The movie begins with the dog Pongo, who lives in London with his owner Roger. Pongo begins to tell his story to his friend, saying that life is not as people think and that he and his friend are living in torment. He feels bored and fed up, and decides to look for a bride for himself and his friend Roger. He looks out the window searching for a suitable bride, but after many dogs pass by, he remains unconvinced. Finally, an elegant and beautiful girl passes by with her dog, and it is noticed that the dog resembles its owner, which delights Pongo. Fortunately, the usual time for walking the dogs comes, so he decides to change the clock to go out at the time he wants. Indeed, he and Roger go out, but they don't find the dog and the girl until later. While Pongo is walking with Roger in the park, he approaches the girl and makes a noise to get her attention. The girl, named Anita, takes notice and then prepares to leave with her dog. But Pongo doesn't miss the opportunity and runs quickly to make them meet. He wraps the leash around them and drags Anita by her clothes, causing her clothes to tear and her to fall into the lake. Anita feels angry, but Pongo apologizes and offers her a wet napkin to dry herself. And from here, understanding begins between them, and they feel mutual love. In the next scene, we see them getting married, and Pongo also marries the dog Perdita, and they live together in love and happiness. After months have passed, we discover that Perdita is 4 months pregnant, and she tells Pongo that their puppies will arrive in 3 weeks. Cruella, who was Anita's friend in high school, arrives at their place. Cruella appears to be evil and causes anxiety for Perdita, who is afraid of her. Cruella uses Roger to achieve her interests, and he describes her as wicked. When she visits them, she asks about the small dogs and tells Anita that she loves small animals. She also notices that the jacket Perdita is wearing is made of fur and asks about its source, but Anita tells her it's natural. After she leaves, Roger starts singing and dancing with Anita in a romantic atmosphere. But at the same time, Pongo feels anxious because he fears that Cruella will take their puppies. He also discovers that Cruella plans to exploit the birth of the puppies for personal gain. On a stormy night, Perdita gives birth with the help of Anita and the maid nanny. Pongo is anxious and tense, waiting for his wife and puppies to emerge so he can check on them. After an hour, Nanny went out, took something, and then came back again. She kept going in and out until she told everyone that she had given birth safely. Roger asked her how many puppies there were, and she answered, 8. After a moment, she said, No, 10. Every time, the number kept increasing until it reached 15. Pongo felt happy and asked Roger how it happened. Nanny came out crying and told them that one of the puppies had died. Roger held the puppies and told Pongo not to be sad, pointing out that the others were fine. Roger realized that the puppy was still moving, so he performed CPR quickly and then transferred his heart before the puppy died. Everyone rejoiced at his rescue and said, So now there are 15 of them. Cruella entered while taking pictures at the same time, and when she heard that the number of puppies had become 15, she lifted the cover to see them. She was surprised and said, They look like mice. Nanny said to her sarcastically, When they grow up, the spots will appear on their bodies. Anita confirmed this, saying, The spots will appear within 3 weeks. Then Cruella said, So, get them ready because I'm going to take them. I know you won't be able to feed them. Anita was afraid for Bahira's feelings and said she couldn't bear the shock. Roger spoke to Anita saying, We will not sell any of these dogs. This is my final decision. Cruella replied saying, Is this what your husband says? Anita replied, Yes, as you heard. Cruella continued her threat, saying, Tomorrow you will regret it, and you will pay a heavy price. I declare war on you from now. After she left, Pongo ran after her, barking at her angrily, then quickly went to check on Bahira. He found out that Roger had kicked Cruella out of the house and refused to sell her the puppies, which reassured him that Cruella wouldn't come back. After 3 months, we see everyone sitting at home watching a cartoon movie before bed, while the puppies gather around them. They were incredibly beautiful and happy, and they started interacting with the events of the movie. One of the puppies expressed his admiration for the film, saying, Rod is the one who will win, and he will eat the monster's entrails. Perdita was surprised and said to him, Where did you hear that, my son? You definitely heard that from your father. Pongo smiled because he had no response to her words. And one of the puppies, named Penny, always said, I'm hungry. Perdita says to him, Haven't you eaten just a little while ago? He replies to her, Yes, but I'm still hungry. The movie ended and everyone went to bed, but they didn't want to sleep. They wanted to go out for a walk in the park. But Pongo didn't answer them and entered the room, only to discover that one of the puppies was still watching the movie. So he went and turned off the TV, and everyone got ready for bed. Perdita went out with Pongo, Roger, and Anita for a walk in the park. There were 2 thieves standing in front of the house, waiting for them to leave so they could enter and steal the dogs. The 2 thieves were named Horace and Jasper. Horace said to Jasper, "There's only the old maid, so it will be easy." Nanny was organizing the dogs for sleep. The doorbell rang, and when she opened the door for them, Horace said, "We came from the electricity company." She told them, "We didn't ask for technicians." So they said to her, "We are here according to the law, based on Article 650. Then they spoke in incomprehensible words. So Nanny preferred to let them in, but they forced the door open and started searching the house. Horace went upstairs so that Nanny would follow him, while Jasper took the opportunity to steal the dogs. What everyone expected happened, and when Nanny went upstairs, they locked her in the room and closed the door. When she went out, she discovered that they had stolen the dogs and fled. At first, Nanny thought they had stolen gold from the house, but when she went downstairs, she was shocked to discover the dogs were missing. Here she realized that their main goal was to steal the dogs. Nanny went out into the street and started screaming for help, but none of the neighbors came out. The next day, the evil Cruella de Vil appeared in the news, and Nanny realized it was she who had stolen the dogs. Cruella laughed as she saw the news in the newspapers, enjoying the sadness that had befallen everyone. Before she could finish her conversation, Jasper, one of the gang members, called her and told her that they wanted money in exchange for not publishing the details of the crime in the newspapers. He explained that things could get bigger than she expected. Cruella de Vil got angry with them and hung up the phone in their faces. She called Anita and Roger to console them and divert suspicion away from herself. Anita suspected Cruella all the time and told Roger, "She's crazy, but I'm sure she's not a thief." Pongo, the dog, felt sad for Perdita and said to her, "We must solve this issue ourselves." Perdita asked him, "Why?" He replied, "Because there is no hope, and the only hope is barking." Pongo agreed with his friends from the neighborhood to help him with this task. They were supposed to meet all together at night. Pongo climbed the hill and started barking loudly to signal the other dogs in the neighborhood. A dog named Danny started sending the signal, and Pongo was trying to clarify more, but Roger was trying to stop him, saying, "You'll wake the neighbors." But Pongo insisted on sending the signal before he left. In the end, the signal reached everyone, and Danny understood the message. Danny sent the message to the rest of the dogs in the neighborhood, and thus everyone learned that 15 spotted puppies had been stolen. The heroic dog, Lucy, appeared and asked the dog, "Tozer, what happened?" He replied, 15 spotted puppies have been stolen in London, and we need to find out what's going on." They kept barking all night until they heard the lead horse. The horse sought to understand what was happening and sent signals, and they realized that there was an important matter they needed to inform the leader about. Tozer quickly went to wake the chief from his sleep. When he began to tell the chief what had happened, the chief heard the signal and moved away from the window to send another signal. But the leader couldn't understand the signal completely because he was hard of hearing due to his old age. Lucy asked him to raise his voice a little so the leader could hear, and indeed, on his second attempt, the leader understood the message correctly. Sergeant Tubin then remembered and said, "I heard the sound of small dogs in the old palace 2 nights ago." The leader replied, "The old palace is inhabited only by ghosts. They noticed smoke coming out of the palace." So the leader wrote a letter to Tozer and advised him to be prepared. Lucy smiled when she understood what was happening. Then Straw passed by the chief, heading toward the palace to find out if the dogs were there or not. Pongo helped him enter through the door, and there he found a large number of dogs filling the place. He approached one of them and asked, "Are you the 15 dogs? Were you stolen?" The dog replied, "No, we are 99 dogs. We were bought and paid for. But another group came recently. They didn't come from pet stores like us. They have names, and you should be careful of the thieves Harash and Kisbara." Pongo counted the dogs from a distance, and after counting them, he confirmed that there were 15 dogs. Before he left, he saw a dog resembling a zebra, so he ran after him, but he managed to escape. The leader and the tribe members responded to Pongo and told him where the children were. Pongo and Perdita quickly left the house and went to the dog Lucky to find out the address. Lucky told them, "They are in the north, and it's better to travel today." He walked with them until they reached the main street and guided them on their way. And when they arrived at the place, Lucky said to them, "When you get there, call the leader, and he will arrive at Dreville Palace." And when they discovered that they were in Hell Hall, they confirmed that Cruella was the one who had stolen them. They ran quickly, and Lucky said, "If you encounter any problems, call the Ho-Ho Center." They ran with all their might, and on their way, they crossed through the ice and the lake, and they were utterly exhausted. All night, the leader stood waiting for their arrival. When a car arrived at the palace gate, the leader was watching the place from a distance. Tibby entered the palace and heard Cruella say, "We need to resolve this matter tonight because the police are looking for us." Kuzbara replied, saying, "They can barely fix one tile, so how will the matter be resolved?" Cruella got angry, hit him, and said, "Get it done today, or I'll call the police." Kuzbara said, "We will watch the movie first, then we will discuss the matter." While Tibby was listening to them as they were busy watching the program, he seized the opportunity, approached the dogs, and said to them, "Escape through the small hole in the wall without making any noise." He started planning the escape, but when he approached one of the dogs, he discovered it was still watching TV. So he tried to convince him to run away, but the dog looked at him with contempt and didn't care. Fortunately, Kuzbara had moved away from them, allowing Tibby to let the dogs out. But unfortunately, one of the dogs didn't know how to escape. He was helped by straw, and he kept trying until he succeeded in getting it out before the program ended. When they finished watching the show, the thieves turned off the television and decided to eliminate the dogs. But when they looked behind them, they found none of them. And that was a disaster because Cruella would have definitely killed them. They went out to search for them and found the dog, Lucky, who was climbing the stairs. They followed him until they reached the cat. Harash said, "This cat is here with them. It seems she is the one responsible for them." Then they sold the dogs, went down to hide under the stairs, but the dog, Ola, discovered them for the third time. So the dogs ran away, and unfortunately, they returned to the same place where they were imprisoned. We returned to the dog Pongo and Perdita as they were on their way to the palace, and upon reaching a crossroads, they did not know which path to take. And while Pongo was thinking, they heard the sound of the leader who came to greet them and took them to the palace. There, they pinpointed the location before the thieves could kill the children, but the thieves beat them severely. So the leader took the opportunity with Tibby and asked Tibby to escape with the dogs. Pongo tightened the grip on Kuzbara, telling him that the stitch, the bond, hurts him a lot. Then the beating continued, and they took the children and fled with them until they reached the stable. In the stable, Pongo reassured the children after counting them, only to be surprised that their number was 99. Pongo was surprised and didn't know the fate of these dogs, so he decided to take them with him and escape through the back door. Harash and Kuzbara arrived in the cart and began searching for them in the stable, but they did not find them. Tibby signaled to the commander, the horse, which charged at Harash and Kuzbara, causing them to stick to the back door. Unfortunately, they discovered the road but did not find the dogs. The dogs continued walking through the snow until they became extremely exhausted from the long journey and the biting cold, to the point that the children couldn't feel their bodies. The dog, Collie, came and told them that there was a nearby coffee farm where they could stop and rest until morning. They were very happy about it, and Pongo took them to the farm. There, everyone welcomed them, including the two women, Shahira and Malika, whom I told that they were worried about them. The children replied to their father saying, "We are hungry, especially Ola, who never stops being hungry." So Shahira and Malika approached and fed him, and after they had eaten, they fell asleep from sheer exhaustion, while Collie went out to keep watch. Cruella noticed their footprints in the snow and concluded that they were definitely in the nearby village, and when morning came, they prepared to continue their journey. Collie came and told them that he found a means of transportation, and they learned that the car parked on the street was heading to London and would leave shortly. Cruella and her followers had arrived in the village and started searching for them. Then a dog came complaining about his brother who fell into the mud. Pongo noticed that the dog's appearance had changed and that it was not easy to recognize. From here, he asked them to cover themselves in mud and took 5 of them to put them in the car. He told Perdita to get her makeup ready so he and the children could go out and get in the car. Cruella arrived and saw the car, but she couldn't recognize them due to the change in their color. Pongo and Perdita, along with a large number of dogs, got into the car that was about to move. The ice began to fall on them and cover them with water, revealing the true color of the dogs. Cruella discovered the truth and became extremely angry. Harash and Kuzbara arrived from the other side. They said they would try to crash the car to make it fall on the ice, but by God's will, instead of crashing Pongo's car, they crashed Cruella's car, completely destroying it. And thus, it was eliminated, and Pongo and his friends continued their journey. We returned to Roger and Anita's house, where they were celebrating the holiday, but they were not happy due to the absence of Pongo and Perdita. The old woman Nani came out, crying, and said she was sad because they were not there, and that she used to hear their voices every day. And when she woke up, she discovered that she had been dreaming. But before she could finish her sentence, she actually heard their barks, so she opened the door to find that many dogs had returned with them. They were surprised when they discovered that the dogs were 101, not 99, as Pongo had thought. Fred said, "We will keep them all, and we will buy a big house and turn it into a dog farm." Everyone was happy about this news, and they all lived in great happiness. This is the end. See you soon. Bye.